14. What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Cam ATL. Shout out to the DFS squad. Shout out to everybody watching this video right now. Drop a like down below because I already know you're gonna love it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you comment anything down in the comment section to enter your name into the $50 giveaway that I do every single week on this channel. If you're new to the channel, this is the first look lineup preview. It's pretty much we're gonna build a lineup together. I'm going to put a lineup in here that I like as a first gut thought on the slate. And then later on in the week, we are going to break it down. On Friday, I post the video where we do a final look, where we go position by position and talk every player that we like. But this first look lineup is just the first lineup off gut reaction of matchup and the way I see the slate going off first look. And then we'll go from there on Friday and build from it. All right, so let's go ahead and put this lineup together. Greenlightdfs.com if you want to join the squad. The last few weeks we have dominated, got right back to what we have been doing all NFL season. We had a few down weeks, and now we're back to it. So let's go ahead and get straight to it, man. Starting off at quarterback, my boy Matty Ice at 6'7". Now, this could change, all right, because there's a lot of solid quarterback options on this slate. Outside of Matt Ryan, you have Jameis Winston, who's also in Atlanta in that dome. You have guys like Drew Brees is in a good matchup. Jeff Driscoll has been throwing a ton of passes, and it looks like Stafford might miss again. So Driscoll's been throwing the ball a ton because they have no run game, and going against Washington, he's a fine money saver. But anyway, in the first look lineup, I'm not going to explain too much about other guys. Let's just talk about why Matt Ryan. First of all, going against Tampa Bay, one of the worst secondaries in the entire league, gave up over 30 to Kyler Murray, gave up over 42 to Russell Wilson. I mean, they gave up almost 20 to Ryan Tannehill and another almost 18 to Kyle Allen. This is a spot where Matt Ryan, all season long until he had a few down games due to injury against the Rams in Seattle. Then he came back, got a 15 against a decent New Orleans defense, by the way, and then a 19 last week. I think he's going to be back to more of what he was doing earlier on this year. I'm seeing a 30 or more here against Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is going to be able to score against Atlanta. It is in a dome, which is always a plus for quarterbacks. And so Matt Ryan at home, one of the highest totals on the entire slate. Amazing matchup against a team who should be able to keep it competitive. I absolutely love Matt Ryan. All right. Next, at running backs, one guy that sticks out to me this week is Le'Veon Bell going against Oakland. He's at home in New York. Now, the thing with Le'Veon is he gets a good amount of carries and he gets targets in the pass game. Now, the last 2 weeks, he's only gotten 4 targets and 2 targets. I expect that to go up here against Oakland. I think they're going to be behind in this game, and they're going to have to throw it to keep up. And Le'Veon's going to benefit a lot from the pass game. I really like him a lot in this one. I mean, the dude's on the field majority of the time, like 96% of the time that the offense is on the field, he's on the field running plays. And at only 6'4", it just seems too cheap for a guy. We know his talent level. He's literally the only threat on this Jets offense. Demaryius Thomas has shown little improved signs of life. But outside of that, I mean, he's really the only life in this Jets offense. Expect them to really game plan to make sure they get him the ball as much as possible. And going against Oakland, this is a really good matchup, who gave up over 23 to Melvin Gordon, over 17 to Joe Mixon. So it's a great matchup. I think Le'Veon is going to benefit from more passes in the pass game because I do expect them to be down here against Oakland. And even if the game stays close and they're not having to really throw to that type of game script, then he's going to get a ton of carries on the ground. So I see him getting in the end zone. I see him getting about 20-some carries, probably 5+ targets in the pass game. So I really like Le'Veon Bell. Next up, now I hate doing this, but Kalen Ballage. Here's the thing with Kalen Ballage, all right? Now, Mark Walton, the guy who was fighting him for touches, is now gone, okay? He was released. He's gone, all right? Literally all they have in that backfield, other than Laird and Gaskin, who are guys they really don't want to give touches, okay? Now, they're probably going to see a little bit of increased touches now with Walton gone, but even then, I think Ballage is the main guy that they want here. I don't know why, but they see some type of potential. What I really love about Balaj is the price is only 4-4. They're going to be behind in this one against Cleveland. They're going to be throwing a ton, which is good news because Balaj has been getting some good targets in the pass game. Last week got 6 targets in the pass game. That is really good. Okay, and it was able to end up getting into the end zone. I think he's going to get into the end zone once again, and at 4-4, the amount of passes he's going to see in the pass game here, I think it could be even over 6. They're going to be down big in this one. So I really like Kalen Balaj in this trying to catch up game with DraftKings being a PPR format. I like Balaj at first look at that price of 4-4. All right. Another guy around that range that you can consider is Ronald Jones. It's about another 400. I would save a defense if you want to save that money to go. Ronald Jones is in a good spot. I hated seeing how he had an amazing game a few weeks ago and then just disappeared again. That's always been the fear with Tampa Bay running backs. Like, they'll have a huge game and then everybody will get on them and then they'll suck. But it's a great matchup against Atlanta for Ronald Jones. So that's another guy right there in that price range that is fine to use. All right, at wide receiver, Mike Evans and Julio Jones. We're going the big dogs at wide receiver. Mike Evans to run back my boy Julio, pairing my boy Julio with Matt Ryan. I think they're going to connect a ton here, especially now that Sanu is out. Expect Julio to have some huge games here for the rest of the season. And here against Tampa Bay, it couldn't get any better for Julio Jones. All right. Michael Thomas has almost got 30. Tyler Lockett dropped over 43. This is going to be a huge game from Julio Jones against Carlton Davis defense. And another thing that makes me think he's going to go wild is the last 2 games he's kind of been mediocre. All right, 10 and a 14. I expect him to go back to that 30 range and have a huge game here against Tampa Bay. And then with Mike Evans going against Atlanta, I shouldn't have to explain this much. All right, Mike Evans is a beast. Atlanta's secondary is atrocious. All right, and after starting the year really, really tough, outside of that really good game, well, he hasn't been too tough. I mean, he's had a few down games all year against New Orleans and against San Francisco. But both defenses are really good. Outside of that, he's averaged 10 or more DraftKings points every single game this year. And now against Atlanta, it's a really plus matchup here. And I'm expecting something around like he did last year, dropping 31 DraftKings points against Atlanta, week 17 of the year last season. I can see Evans having a huge game here. And he's definitely the guy I want to go with. Next up, I talked about how I expect Miami to be down big in this game. I really like Devontae Parker. All right, now Devontae is going to be getting a ton of targets the rest of the season now that Preston Williams is out. And Parker has a ton of talent. If you look at him since week 4, he hasn't gotten less than 10 DraftKings points. And at 5-2 in what should be a game where they are behind big, I love Devontae Parker to get a ton of targets. Him and Balaj are the 2 guys that I'm expecting to get some good targets in this pass game this week. At tight end, now this is kind of up in the air, but the guy that I'm leaning on a little bit right now is Jason Witten against New England. Now, the last thing New England is going to game plan for is Jason Witten. Now, one thing we know with Belichick is he likes to take away main guys. So they might focus in on Amari Cooper and Ezekiel Elliott, or just really shut down Zeke and make Dak throw and put a ton of pressure on Dak and make him do it himself. You don't really know 100% which way it's going to go. If I had to guess, I'd probably say they try to zone in on the run and stop Zeke. But either way, their game plan is not going to be focused around Jason Witten. I see a ton of safety valve dump-offs to Jason Witten right there in the middle of the field to really take advantage of this Patriots defense. I really like this situation for Witten at 3-5. I think he's one of the guys that's going to have one of the more favorable matchups when it comes to this game in general because these New England cornerbacks are really, really good. I think Witten's got the better matchup out of everybody. All right? Now, at the flex, I really like Philip Lindsay going against Buffalo. He's a good price at 5-2. Regardless of how the game script goes, he's involved either way. If they fall behind, he's involved heavily in the pass game, especially with this new quarterback, relying on him a lot as a safety valve. And if they get up, he's going to get a ton of carries anyways. All right, this dude's been super, super consistent outside of a few down games against Jacksonville and Kansas City. He's averaging about 12 to 15 DraftKings points and has the upside of around 30 like he did against Green Bay and the Chargers. So Philip Lindsay, I know it's not an ideal matchup against Buffalo, but this Buffalo defense did give up 17 to Adrian Peterson and over 18 to Jordan Howard. All right, and neither of those guys are really super involved in the pass game. Expect Lindsay to have a really solid game here, and at 5-2, he's a very solid option. If you decide you want to keep Kalen Balaj, another guy there, Ronald Jones, once again. That's another dude that I have some interest in around that price range that you can definitely get exposure to. Last but not least, I know we have Jason Witten, but a defense that really sticks out to me is the Patriots or the Saints. You can really go either way. The Saints at home, they're going to put up a ton of points here, and Carolina's going to make some mistakes having to try to throw and keep up with Kyle Allen as quarterback, and they get a lot of sacks. So the Saints are a great option. The Patriots are a great option. I'm just going to go ahead and go the New Orleans Saints at home in New Orleans. It's really close between those two, though, because the Patriots defense has been really, really good this year. Really good. And we know Dak can struggle and throw some picks at times. I could see a pick six for New England. So really, either way you go, it's fine. I'm going to land on the Saints solely because they're at home in New Orleans, and I can see a scenario where they get up big here in this game, and then Kyle Allen makes some mistakes, gets sacked, forced fumbles, stuff like that. That will really help the Saints defense to be able to do solid in this game defensively. Carolina's also only implied for 18 points, so it's a good matchup for the Saints, and they've been a solid defense this year. A very solid defense. And now they're at home going against a young Carolina squad. I think the Saints will do just fine. But you can use them or the Patriots, like I said. Either one is interchangeable. They're both 3-3. You could go either way. If you want to punt defense, I like the Jaguars at 2-8. Other defenses that you can possibly punt with, it's tough. I don't love really any of them. I would really just stick with the Jaguars as a cheap defensive option. None of the other options really stick out to me on this slate. All right, and that's it, y'all. We got Matt Ryan, Le'Veon Bell, Kalen Ballage, Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Devontae Parker, Jason Witten, Phillip Lindsay in the Saints defense. For the first time in a long time, I have no Christian McCaffrey here, which might end up changing because McCaffrey has been my go-to guy all season, and he never fails us. Another thing that's sad is we don't have Lamar Jackson, who's been carrying us to big victories the last 2 weeks as well. No Lamar on this slate. So really, I'm going with I don't know if this is a Cassius or a GPP. I don't know how people are swaying this week so far. But Kalen Ballage is probably going to be GPP. People are always scared of that. Phillip Lindsay, probably a low-owned guy. So we've got some low-owned guys in this lineup. I'm expecting Mike Evans and Julio Jones to have some exposure, and Matt Ryan. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. As always, greenlightdfs.com. I will be back Friday for the final look. We'll go position by position and talk every